Welcome to Let's Make Cake. I'm your host, Michelle Pyle, and we are here to talk about how to kick depression, anxiety, and make a great life because that is something that I did. And so I want to help others do the same. So this week, or at least today and Wednesday, I want to talk about the topic of loneliness, which is not the most fun topic to talk about, but it is something that's super important. We can definitely experience loneliness, especially with depression and anxiety, because we do tend to kind of withdraw socially. And then over time, that can create a situation where we might be experiencing really bad loneliness. And what made me want to talk about this is actually something that's been in the news. So I'm going to just pull up this video. You guys have probably heard about Punch the Monkey, or maybe you've seen videos going around. And so I just want to go and I'll show a little short video about that. But that's what got me thinking about this topic. So let me head over there really quick. Okay, so Punch the Monkey. So you've probably seen this on the internet, but is this little guy who was rejected by its parents and then by the fellow monkeys, and so ended up with this stuffed toy to sort of help him socially. So let me pull up this video really quick, and we'll just watch this. It's like a minute long. But this is a really, like, if you've experienced loneliness, I think you can relate to this story. And there's even this great quote here. I think we could relate to him to some sense, being in an unfamiliar environment, not knowing the people around you, and then just trying to fit in as much as we can. So that, like, we've probably all been there. So I think that's why this story resonated with so many people too. But let's just watch this short little video together. Okay.
Monkey who stole hearts around the world. Well, here's how Punch is doing now.
過去の経験も生かしてとりあえず頑張って成長してくれて今いろんな猿とコミュニケーションが取れているので
Punch was abandoned by his mother at birth and was instead given this plush toy as a substitute maternal figure. When the other monkeys would push him away or when he'd struggle to fit in, he turned to the stuffed animal for comfort. Those tender moments quickly spread on social media, turning Punch into the internet's newest star.
As you can see, Punch has quite the fan base. Hundreds of people are here from all around the world just to see this baby monkey.
Yeah, I think we all could relate to him to some sense, being in an unfamiliar environment, not knowing the people around you, and then just trying to fit in as much as we can.
These days, Punch looks like he's made a friend, but he still spends a lot of time on his own and isn't fully part of the group yet. His keeper says he's relying on the stuffed toy less and less, but still holds on to it when he sleeps, relaxes, or feels upset after getting scolded by the older monkeys. And when things get tough, Punch still has someone else to cling to.
Okay, so I just think that is very relatable for a lot of us. And you can tell because, of course, it's been a global story that has kind of taken off. And I just think it helps to remember, like, we're not alone, and animals experience this, humans experience this. This is just, it is a normal and part of life that you may experience. So not to feel like you're the only one. And it's kind of funny because I was going through a lonely period, and I had a friend, well, actually not a friend, my husband, but at the time we were getting to know each other, but he knew I was experiencing loneliness. And so he had bought me this stuffed animal. And I took this thing everywhere with me because this was during a period of time where I was pretty isolated. I wasn't around my family. I was living in a new, town, and I had a new job, and I was just, by myself a lot. So I'll just show you these pictures really quick. So this is the little stuffed, I guess it's a bunny. I never could 100% tell what kind of animal it was, but I took this thing everywhere with me. So here on the left is I was on an airplane, I think. Here I'm in my car driving, and I just took this little guy everywhere. Here I'm hanging out, and it was my kind of depressing apartment, and I would just sit him with me and watch TV, and then in my bed. So I guess I'm like Punch the Monkey. I needed a stuffed animal. And then when I had a friend who found herself living alone in an apartment and really lonely and, you know, not wanting to be living alone and just felt isolated, I was like, okay, I'm going to buy you a stuffed animal. So it was funny when this story came out because I was like, oh my gosh, like I've done this. So yeah, loneliness happens and we have to find ways to like manage and deal with it. Now, the stuffed animal is obviously a temporary thing to help me get through that time period. I couldn't live like that forever, but it's just an example. And then I'll go back here. There's another story that was really funny that I saw. Let me just pull it up here in People magazine. And so this was Ryan Gosling when he was filming the movie Project Hail Mary, which has just come out. It says directors created Moppy Ringwald to keep him company. I just think this is hilarious because, yeah, so even someone who is famous and filming a movie is like, yeah, I can't do this by myself. Like I need to have, right here, he says, I needed someone to talk to. I need a scene partner. And they were like, we got it. So they went and made a mop into a person, which is hilarious. But I just think it's important to remember you can experience loneliness in many different ways and at different points in your life. And it's a normal human response to different situations. And so, don't beat yourself up and say, what's wrong with me? Because the loneliness is telling you like, I need something more. And so I think we need to listen to that emotion rather than be scared of it, but face it. And then we have to take steps, to resolve it. And here I'll just go to, there's another story that I really liked as well. Also in People magazine. And so this is really cool. So man sends handwritten letters to strangers on the internet for heavy reason. I know how it feels to be alone. So this is I just thought this was so cool. So, when strangers message this gentleman about grief, loneliness, or struggles they're carrying, he doesn't always reply with a quick comment or emoji. Sometimes he reaches for a pen. The 23-year-old has begun writing handwritten letters to people who reach out to him online. A small but deeply personal gesture he hopes reminds them they're not alone. Letters was something personal. It's just me. I know how it feels to be alone. I know how it feels to suffer without family. I understand how it feels to be battling for dreams when there is no hope left. I just think that is so well put, right? Like, and that's a deeper kind of loneliness that we all can experience and go through. And the rest of that article is really great. This young man is super awesome. So I'll provide a link so you can read more about his story. But I just think, right, here's all these examples of different ways of feeling lonely and different levels and depths of feeling lonely. And just how it is just a totally normal response when you're in a situation where you're wanting more, right? Maybe it's deeper friendships or more friendships. Maybe it's family. Maybe it's having a significant other. But we go through these times in our life where we have to face loneliness. And it's really scary. And I don't want to like downplay like how it feels, because I know there were moments before my stuffed animal example, that was kind of a loneliness I knew was going to come to an end. And so I was able to kind of deal with it. But there have been previous periods where I was like, wow, I don't seem to feel close in a deep way to anybody. And I mean, I remember just crying myself to sleep at night from the loneliness. Like, it is really scary at times. And so I think it's important to remember that it can happen to any of us, and you can get through it. And I'm going to talk more about how to get through it on Wednesday, but I just wanted to start to talk about the topic just so we're not so scared to talk about it. Because it is, it's kind of embarrassing if you're experiencing loneliness. You're kind of like, what's wrong with me? Like, why does it seem like everybody else has no problem, right? Like making a life that feels good, and I'm just by myself, like suffering. It's a terrible, terrible feeling. And so I just want to like make it okay to talk about this topic because it is scary. But it is also like completely normal to go through this. And yeah. And so then now I want to show you, kind of showing you lots of different stuff today just to get like a sampling of different things that are out there about loneliness. And this is a comedian who has a little video about loneliness. And I'm just going to show you like a short portion of it. But let me go there now. Oops. Okay. So let's see if I can get this. Okay. And we're just going to watch like a minute and a half. Okay. This is Tim Dillon. So this video is the billionaire class wants you to believe that loneliness is the next epidemic. And I recommend watching comedians because I think they help us when we're in these time periods, just at least have a moment of levity where we can laugh. But yeah, so anyway, I'm just going to play a small portion of this video. Okay, here we go.
Loneliness. Listen, we all know friends are great, communities are great, social engagements are wonderful. We know that technology has made the world more lonely and more isolating, okay? But whenever I see a coordinated attempt to push a narrative, I always have to question why. Okay, so let's just here, go back to that next page. Loneliness is at epidemic levels, okay? Health and Human Services are epidemic of loneliness. NPR, America has a loneliness epidemic. All of these places are saying you are lonely and that is your issue. That is why you are miserable. Now, we've said on the show many, many times that the decline of social activities is a thing. The great book, Bowling Alone, which I've referenced several times, they're not necessarily all wrong here. But to say that it's the only issue and it's the only prevalent concern in people's lives is that they are lonely and that is what is killing them, it takes a lot of pressure off any of these companies that don't have to change anything they're doing. You know what makes you less lonely? Affording a home in a community of other people. That might make you less lonely. Yeah. But they don't really address that. They don't.
Okay, so I just think that's great. Right, because it is important to remember too, we are living in a time where it's easier to become lonely because we do lack some important social structures that used to exist. And so, yeah, so I just wanted to give like today a sampling of like different ways that loneliness can exist and how we can talk about it in different ways. And on Wednesday, I'm going to go more in depth about how to overcome it. But yeah, I just wanted to start this with like, it's not your fault, right? So if you're experiencing loneliness, don't blame yourself. Because it happens and it can happen for a lot of different reasons. Now you are the one who has to get yourself out of it. So that's kind of the bad news, right? Like, unfortunately, if you're in this place of loneliness and it feels terrible and you don't know what to do, you are the one who's going to have to take the steps to overcome the loneliness. And I'm going to talk more on Wednesday about all different ways to do that and things I did. But yeah, I just don't be scared of the feelings. It is a completely normal human and animal thing, right? Like with Punch the Monkey, right? He was rejected by his parents, and then because of that rejection was rejected by the monkey group. And so he was isolated, and it was like, so it happens in the animal kingdom, although it's rare, and that was kind of one of the points of their stories. And then it can happen to humans, of course, right? Like we might feel rejected and then withdraw, or we're hesitant to reach out because we know that we're struggling with depression, or our anxiety prevents us from going out there and trying to form relationships. So this is a completely normal human thing to go through. And I just think it's important not to be afraid, because if we panic and then we're fearful that we're never going to get out of it, then that paralyzes us, right? It's that fear that kind of takes over and then prevents us from just sort of recognizing this is a feeling I'm having because it's trying to tell me I want more, right? If you didn't feel the loneliness, you would just stay in this where you are and keep the status quo. So the loneliness is a signal like, hey, I'm not satisfied. I need more, right? And figuring out what that is and what it looks like and how to achieve it, that's the harder part. But just to start with today, if you are experiencing loneliness, is to, don't blame yourself. It happens to all of us at some point in life. We experience loneliness. I'm pretty sure everybody has. I would venture to say. So don't blame yourself. Don't feel ashamed. But then don't be scared, right? So those feelings you're having are a signal to you to pay attention. Like, hey, your mind is saying, I want more from life and from relationships. And so don't let fear and panic, take over, because that is paralyzing, right? Fear and panic will stop us all the time from making progress or taking steps. So today I just wanted to introduce the topic of loneliness, and then Wednesday we're going to talk about like how to get through it and then how to fix it. So I wanted to have a little bit of fun today with Punch the Monkey and then Ryan Gosling, and then I think the guy's on TikTok or Instagram who's handwriting letters to people who are experiencing loneliness, and then Tim Dillon, the comedian, just to kind of introduce the topic, as it is broad. It affects lots of people in lots of different ways. And so if you are currently experiencing loneliness, it's okay. It is scary. And I know it's scary and I don't want to downplay it. But we have to overcome that fear and that panic so that we can take steps to get ourselves out of the loneliness, because it is 100% possible. I'm living proof of that. I've had very deep, lonely moments in life, and I've been able to overcome them. So we're going to talk all about that. Today I just wanted to introduce the topic, and definitely, check out those articles. I'll provide links, and we'll talk more on Wednesday. So that is today's video. I appreciate you guys being here. You can always go to letsmakecake.org to find more ways to reach out to me if you're interested in that. And I will see you on Wednesday. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.